This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Thursday? It is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. You guys are hanging out with us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, listening to us there, watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, watching us on the BamaCentral Facebook channel. We're here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios for another day. It is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. We're hanging out with our friend Mason Woods. You follow Mason Woods at MA_Woods on the Twitter machine. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. Later in the show, being joined by Miss Katie Windham. Katie Windham, you follow her at Katie Windham _. She is not knee deep. She is hip deep in all of her sports, covering gymnastics, covering softball, men's and women's basketball, everything, spring football for Katie. For Katie Windham. So we're going to have Katie Windham join us at about 8:30 and find out what we need to know about this SEC tournament, about the softball team. The softball team is hitting the cover off the ball, apparently, and that gets us excited. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. We're so excited. We're thankful to Warren Tire and Auto for sponsoring the program. You can find Warren Tire and Auto on University Boulevard or on 15th Street. They've been a Tuscaloosa and a University of Alabama staple since 1961. They're in their third generation of family ownership. Warren Tire and Auto is the go-to place for all your automotive needs. Now, with two great locations to serve you, just like we just said, if you are going to University Boulevard, you can call them at 205-758-2739. If you just need tires, brakes, and alignment, you can see them on 15th Street at 205-759-5505. What are we going to do today, Mason Woods? We're going to have a lot of fun. I just noticed over your shoulder, it looks like it just got dark. Are we going to have a storm driving up to Nashville this afternoon? We're going up to the SEC tournament today. Our beloved Vanderbilt Commodores lost yesterday, so we will not have to shoot. That is a blessing in disguise for you and me, Mason Woods, because if Vanderbilt had won, we would be doing this show at about 6 a.m., at about 5 a.m., because we would have to be going up there to cover the Vanderbilt second-round game against Texas at Texas A&M. So today's day got a little bit shorter with Vanderbilt's loss. We now have to be up there for the Missouri game, which is great. We knew that was happening no matter what. Missouri at 6 o'clock. We'll be there for the Walsh Riding Network.
Does look like you're going to encounter some rain on your way there.
That's okay. I'm not driving. That's fine.
Oh, then easy. You just conk right out.
That is exactly the plan.
You dream of SEC titles.
Hunter DeCiver, get ready to hear me snoring away over there in the passenger seat, and Katie will probably be doing work. Katie never
fighting
sleeps.
Bruce Pearl in your dreams.
That's right. Katie never sleeps. She'll be working on our way up there. So she'll join us at 8:30. Then we will take off for the SEC tournament, and we'll be covering that the rest of the weekend. It'll be the gang goes to Nashville. Mason's going to be holding it down in Tuscaloosa, seeing who comes to town on the recruiting front, watching the Diamond Sports continuing their excellences. Man, but they've been both very, very, very good starts. So Mason stays in town with the gang goes to Nashville, and that's the plan for the week. Okay. You doing okay today, Mason? How are you? Let me take a deep sip of this coffee and let you get into this program and say hello to the people.
I mean, I'm doing good. Same story it's been all week. Hey, it's been a pretty slow week on the recruiting trail. Alabama lined up a couple visits this week. Let's see, 4-star running back Jonas Walton is.
But what about you, Mason? Oh, these kids. How about you? How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been.
Michael Jordan bleep these kids. What about you?
We've been sitting at the house all day waiting for recruiting stories to roll in that really haven't been rolling in this week. So it's been relatively calm and easy. Took the dog on a nice walk the other day. That was fun. Everything's been nice and easy in the Woods household this week. Melissa is off work on account of spring break.
Yeah. So she's loving that.
Yeah, it's been nice. We've just been sitting at the house.
Okay, great. All right, sweet. All right, now you can get back to the recruiting and all the other stuff you were saying. Just Who's coming? Nobody's
we
coming.
did.
that
Alabama
sort of-
did line up 2 visits this week. Brandon Arrington, 5-star athlete in the 2026 class, and 4-star running back Jonas Walton in the 2026 class as well.
Tell me about this name I keep hearing. Booby Feaster. Do we know anything about him?
Booby Feaster.
Okay,
Oh,
so that's not his real name, obviously.
No, Ethan Booby Feaster.
I guess we're starting on a tangent. We've got a couple different directions to go into, but today's going to be a fun, an ADHD show. I've been hearing all this stuff about Booby Feaster in the football facility from other reporters and from other people who follow the recruiting game. Apparently, he's the baddest of the bad. He's the number one guy in the next. Is he the 26th class, the upcoming class? Is that or is he in the 27 class and reclassifying? There's all kinds of this name has just been bantied about as far as this guy is the next big thing. It's the next Ryan Williams type of recruit. So what do we know about this Booby Feaster? Is he from Mars?
He's from DeSoto, Texas.
Okay,
so,
all right.
It probably looks like Mars a little bit.
Okay,
I don't know where in Texas DeSoto is, but there's some parts that maybe look similar.
All right.
6 foot, 175 pounds. He was a 2027 prospect. Did reclassify last month, right at about a month ago.
That's what I heard. I thought I heard that. Keep going.
So he is a 4-star prospect now. I think he was the top-rated wide receiver in the 27 class before he reclassified. Now he is the 247, has him as the number 6 receiver in the entire class. So still very impressive for a guy that should be, or really is a year behind everyone else. I mean, the little bit I have seen from him, like I said, 6 foot 175, so kind of in that same build as Ryan Williams. Not an overly big guy, not really going to wow you with the size, but he is extremely fast. He runs track and field as well. Let's see, I've got some of his times here. The 100 meter ran an 11.29. I don't know the context for that really. What is the record there on on the 100? What is like 10 point something, 9 point something?
You got Usain Bolt and you've got the
Noah Lyles,
the new kid Noah Lyles, and they're running in the 9.8s. They're running in the 9.7s.
Well,
is that right?
He ran an 11.29 as a 7th grader this year says. So that's pretty impressive to me, only being a couple seconds off a world record maybe.
Yeah, Noah Lyles 9.81.
All right, so he was less than 2 seconds off as an 11-year-old. 12-year-old. How old are you in 7th grade? 12, 13?
Goodness gracious, yeah.
Something like that. Middle schooler. And as a freshman in high school, ran a 22.01 and the 200.
That's really good.
So it seems like he's got some great speed.
That's long-range speed, too.
Got some stats from 2024. So this was, again, this was his sophomore season. Now it's technically, he's only going to be in school for 3 years.
Right.
This was his sophomore year. So he got 57 passes for 824 yards, 13 touchdowns. As a freshman, he had 32 catches for 634 and 9 touchdowns. Both years helped lead DeSoto to deep playoff runs. I think as a freshman, they won the state title. So just a really dynamic receiving prospect. I'm watching his highlight tape here, and it is a wide variety of different kind of plays. He's catching balls underneath and making guys miss in the open field. He's catching deep balls. He's catching contested passes. He's catching red zone balls. Like, he's doing everything for this team. So seems to be a very, very impressive prospect and plays in Texas. So, it's good competition.
All right, Mason, I will give you a personal financial little bonus if you can get him on the show.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Whether even I don't care. I mean, it'd be great if he comes to Tuscaloosa for college, but if he goes to Timbuktu, I'd still like to have him on the show because he sounds like the next big thing. We'll start to do that. We'll start to any recruit you can facilitate. We'll give old Mason Woods a little financial bonus.
The receiver that I am very, very excited about in the 2026
class,
let's say Darian Morgan.
You've said that before. He's an Atlanta kid, is that right?
Alexander said he's an Alabama kid.
Okay,
so he is 6'4", 210. This is a guy I think more in the mold of the kind of specialty receiver that Kalen DeBoer is looking for.
AJ Brown,
that one bigger guy on the in the trio there.
Roma Dunze.
Yeah, this guy is. He is very, very good. This is just the little quick 247 rundown here. Very verified, just shy of 6'4" with a thick developed frame. Possesses potential growth to add another 15 to 20 pounds to his frame. Displays good athleticism, primarily operating out of the slot, unique for his size. Natural mover with loose hips, shows slight ankle stiffness. Highly productive rack threat. Uses his size to catch the ball at the high point and displays natural pass catching ability down the field. I think this is just a guy that, what I have seen in the, again, highlights that I have seen from him, he does operate out of the slot a little bit, but that kind of leads me to believe that at the next level, he's just going to be a very dynamic threat that can do a lot of things, because I doubt they're going to be using a 6'4" guy in the slot much. So he will be asked to go to the outside and then develop skills there. And then you just have a guy that can do it all.
Gonna go play X receiver, Darian Morgan. We're gonna teach you how to get off the line of scrimmage.
Number 3 wide out in the country, Darian Morgan also.
Why don't you come on? I mean, same rules apply. If you can get Darian Morgan to give us 20 minutes, we'll give you a little bump, little Taco Bell gift card. Nothing crazy, but just a little, well, buy Melissa's next Starbucks maybe. that might be a little helpful. That's what we'll do. Okay, we weren't planning on going in the recruiting direction, but that's just how it goes, and that's great. Look, that's why I like this show, because it just goes wherever we go. Well, I wanted to talk about an SEC tournament, second round. I asked ChatGPT another football question, and we're going to have Miss Katie Windham join us. So there's a lot to talk about. We've got plenty of content. You guys call us on the voicemail line, 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can be a part of the show. I would love to take your voicemails and play them tomorrow morning on your predictions for the SEC tournament. How deep does Alabama go? Or who wins the SEC tournament? I'd love to take your voicemails on that.
See Mac Jones get signed last night?
It's on my list.
Okay.
That's on my list. Yes. That's the perfect place for him.
It is.
We'll just skip right to it. Perfect. That is the perfect place for him. Go ahead. You start. You brought it up, and I'll chime in.
The pain that I felt in my heart when I saw his name get floated out towards the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, no. We don't want that.
To every beat writer that I follow that I trust more than others, they all said that was never happening. So I believed them, but still, even seeing it out there, I was like, no, thank you. That's not going to go good for anybody. Mac Jones is not a guy that is going to do it himself and fix a dysfunctional franchise like the Tennessee Titans, which, I think I still trust Brian Callahan, but we'll see. San Francisco's perfect. Just let him go hang out over there and not have to do anything.
Oh, exactly. It's not only the fact that he's going to be a backup, which I think is his,
I think he's a good backup.
I think that's your role in the NFL for the next 8 years, man. And if you can cash checks doing that, it was a 2-year deal, right?
I think so.
If you can cash checks doing that for 8 more years, oh, buddy, roll tide. Congratulations.
That's Chase Daniel, how his life went,
And now Chase Daniel is just YouTube and talking about this quarterback and that quarterback, and people eat his stuff up because they know he's been in these rooms for 15 years.
There's a lot of value to a career backup.
Oh, yeah. Yes. People who followed me very long, if you haven't, then I'm just going to expose myself. But if you follow me for very long, I am not a Mac Jones guy. I never have been. And that's fine. I'm not going to make it personal about that. I think he landed in the perfect place for himself. Not only the backup quarterback role, great. You found a good spot and you got paid 2 years. To go to San Francisco, I think Kyle Shanahan's a genius. I think Kyle Shanahan makes my mind go into nefarious places when I watch his offense go. It makes my mind go into really just.
Yeah.
I mean, it is artistic the way he calls football, and so the entire time he's been in the NFL as a head coach, he has had borderline trash cans at quarterback. Borderline. I mean, you can get in my mentions about Brock Purdy and about Jimmy Garoppolo, this, that, and the other. But I have my opinion is those guys are trash cans. Those guys stink. Those guys are good game managers with bad arms.
Sure. I mean, you look at what Jimmy G did anywhere else; it was nothing.
Right. Exactly. And then you ask yourself, what is Mac Jones? A good game manager with the bad. Mac Jones could be in the Super Bowl with them.
Yeah. He's not. I mean, he's not really that different from Brock Purdy skill wise.
Exactly, or Jimmy G.
Yeah,
like he's better than who's the black fellow that brought in when
Trey Lance.
No, Johnson.
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson. Yeah, exactly. Like he's better than.
Yeah,
he is on par with any quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has ever had in San Francisco.
This is your chance to win you a Super Bowl match.
Yes.
Brock Purdy goes down, step right in. They don't have to miss a beat.
When Brock Purdy goes down, not it. Like that guy, he gets. I don't mean. the NFL, everybody gets
when
hurt.
he hurts his elbow again.
But like, yeah, he's one of the kind of guys that he's going to get hurt. This is a perfect place for you, Mac. I mean, your agent, go kiss your agent on the mouth, and you're going to think, oh, why? I'm just going to be a backup. Trust me. Wait 8 months. When you're the starter, you're starting in November, and you're handing the ball off to, I guess, Christian McCaffrey's dead. Yeah. But you're dinking and dunking to George Kittle, because Kyle Shanahan has schemed open receiver after open receiver. So you just, oh man, this feels like 2020 again when Sarkisian was open receiver after open receiver.
Yeah, it's a perfect spot for him. And I know people will say things about San Francisco as a city, but it's nice weather. You get to go live out in fancy, sunny California.
He's going to be insulated from any nonsense he wants to avoid.
Yes, he is not going to be in the parts of San Francisco where many of these things are happening to a lot of these athletes. He gets to live in his fancy apartment somewhere, probably drive him a nice car, and not really have to deal with a lot of the day-to-day things.
You don't think there's a homeless encampment outside of his apartment?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, hey, Ricky Pearsall last year, though.
Yeah, he got shot, didn't he?
He got shot right before the season, so I guess it can happen.
Mac Jones.
I do not want that to happen.
No, absolutely.
I hope that does not.
Just because I'm not a fan, I don't want anything bad for you to happen, for sure.
No.
But
I think you'll be okay.
When this came across the wire, I thought, good job,
Bingo.
Mac.
Yeah.
And I'm not really even mad, but I thought that's the right spot for you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a better spot he could have landed.
Not in Chicago, I'll tell you that. So win for all of us. Win for everyone.
Yeah, stay away from my Titans, thank you. I will let Will Levis throw 70 interceptions next year before I let Mac Jones start for the Titans.
Mac Jones drives me nuts.
Yes, because it's not what you want. If you are a good team and he's your backup, that's fine.
But you
need to step in to win 2, 3, 4 games in a pinch. Awesome. But if you're a terrible team and you need to not win 2, 3, 4 games, he's unfortunately going to win you just enough to where you won't be where you need to be as a team. Like, he's just average enough. And that's like the worst possible thing when you're an already bad team.
We got to figure out. Mac Jones is my generation's AJ McCarron. So like what, 5 years, 10 years younger than me. I'm 35. So you're 25-year-olds who all saw Mac Jones dominate your 2020 season. Oh man, all he needs is a shot. All he needs is a chance, and he's going to be a starter. He's going to take over a team. He's a quick QB1. I fooled myself so much over AJ McCarron's career, man. If the Bengals just give him a shot, he would beat out Andy Dalton. They're not giving him a shot because of contracts. And then, he's going to the Bills. Here's his shot. He's going to win the job. Boom, he gets hurt. Then a couple other things happen where he goes to other teams, same sort of thing. But for the entire time AJ McCarron was in the NFL, I was, man, if he just gets a shot, he's gonna be a starter. He's gonna show everybody wrong.
I tried to build so many Madden franchises around AJ McCarron because he was rated as like an 80 in that game.
Right,
one of them.
Oh,
never worked.
That's what that's who Mac is. Mac will not be a quarterback one ever in the NFL. But if you throw his name out in this town to really anyone, it's, oh man, if he just gets a shot, if they just give him a chance. It's like, because you ask about the New England stuff. Oh well, they screwed him without any, and it's like, okay, they didn't have the top weapons in the NFL, sure, but they're still playing professional football, and they always throw, oh, he made the playoffs. Was that his rookie year? His rookie or second year, he got him to the playoffs. The defense was the best defense in the league that year.
He made a Pro Bowl though, and he did his gritty.
Mitchell Trubisky made the Pro Bowl too.
He was also like the third alternate, I
think,
when Mac made it.
Exactly. So I wish
Snoop Huntley made a Pro Bowl that year too.
I wish you good luck, Mac. But yeah, I think you found the perfect place.
Yeah, good on you. Good on your agent.
I don't have any other pro football nonsense.
I'm
My
not sure
other
that
pro
there was any
football,
other-
my other pro football note was C.J. Mosley getting cut, but who cares?
Yeah.
Good luck. He'll find a new home, and we'll talk about it when he gets there.
Yeah, someone that needs a veteran linebacker will sign him. I think the Jets just wanted to get a little cheaper and younger at the position.
Jets.
Hey, Justin Fields to the Jets.
Oh,
That was
my.
interesting.
Great.
Saw many a New York fan trying to sell themselves on that dream.
That. Don't do that to yourselves. Been there, done that. I've lived that nightmare. It's not fun. It's not. It's well, if you could see it just a little faster. His arm. I mean, he has a great arm. You just got to see it a little faster. Yeah, I got C.J. Mosley getting cut was my only other Alabama in the NFL note.
This is not anything to do with football, but
Throw it
moving
to us.
basketball a little bit. This is from a Twitter community that I'm now discovering called Big Blue Portal, and it appears to be a lot of Kentucky fans discussing
Please throw
portal eligible players.
Please go the direction I think you're going. Please go.
This is a tweet from @WildcatUKX from 22 hours ago. A player a lot of people may not have on their radar, but I think he has potential to be really, really good. Thoughts? And then in parentheses, rumor to enter portal. Now I'll give you one guess.
I know who it is because I've seen this. I've seen this, and
the screenshot that he had shared along with this caption is a photo of LeBaron Philon.
You fool!
You idiot! What?
Yeah, he's rumored to portal to the NBA draft.
He's a projected first round pick.
He's rumored to portal to the NBA lottery.
This is just insane. Oh man!
Watch what that Joker does over the next 4 weeks, and then put his butt in the lottery.
This has to be satire. There's no way that anybody is really thinking he is even
Google
staying
his
for another
name.
year of college, but two, if he were to stay for another year of college, entering the transfer portal and going to Kentucky of all places.
Google his name and type mock draft. Here, I'll do it as you continue this.
Oh, we got some good ones in here. They got some names. They love some Trace and Eagle staff. In this big blue portal.
We can go there too. Okay, I just typed LeBaron Philon mock draft. That's all I have. AI overview, as you know, Google's gone to over.
Mm-hmm.
It says as a potential LeBaron Philon is being projected as a potential first round pick in the 2025 draft, with some mock drafts placing him as high as 23rd overall. Now that's just the AI overview. You can go through and see all the mock drafts, but like that was in 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
You throw a good tournament run on top of that gets you into that, teens in the 15 to 20 range, maybe even a little higher, the 12 to 18 kind of.
I think the lottery cuts off at 12.
Yeah.
Like, hey, baby, we're sneaking right in there. That last spot. Josh Primo was a lottery pick. Can you believe that? You said Trace and Eagle staff. We didn't talk about him on the show yesterday, did we? Or
no,
two days ago. 2 days ago. He's not coming to Alabama.
It's not going to happen.
He's
folks.
not transferring here. Trace and Eagle staff dropped what, 50-something on Alabama, 40-something on Alabama?
I think 42 or something.
Right. It was a big old number. And
I mean, the kid couldn't miss. It was an incredible performance.
Oh, Justice Wilson. Oh, Justice. Oh, first, thank you for commenting. Justice Wilson, I'm all for Eagle staff joining Alabama. I think he'll be a fan favorite. I mean,
he would be.
Yes.
You are correct.
The second part, you're absolutely. People would love him. I would love him. The Native American in me, I would be war painting up. No, no, not tiny little bit. I'm an official member of the Cherokee Nation.
I could be. I just haven't done the paperwork to do all of that. It's a long process.
My uncle did it for me. Thank you.
That's nice.
My uncle officially made me a DEI.
Yeah, I went to
10
my
years ago.
family about it one time before I went to college to find out, and they all just said, "Well, if you do it yourself, sure." And it was like, okay. And at 17 years old, I did not know how to go about doing that. And still, it's a long process.
My I shouldn't make that joke. I was going to say he made everybody in the family. We're all officially DEI now because we're all official Native American members of the Native American Nation. Justice Wilson is right. It would be a fan favorite. And first, then thank you for commenting. Absolutely, thank you. But he don't play defense.
Yeah, we can't do this. We cannot we can't bring a guy in that is allergic to defense like that. I don't think it would be good for the team as a whole.
And look at the roster projects very well next year already. You're bringing Luttrell and Houston back from medical red shirts. Your Aiden Holloway's not going anywhere. Nas coming up. Yes. And you mentioned all three of the guys that are signed in the 25 class.
London Jemison, Amari Allen,
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll find the third
But
one.
the roster's already stacking up. Next year's need is Aiden Terrell to grow up.
That's going to be a big one.
And
Davion Hannah.
Davion Hannah. Here we go. Justice Wilson, 41. Yeah, 41 against Alabama. That was in late December. And then 51 in the conference tournament game this week. So, Justice, thank you for watching. Look, it would be a lot of fun.
Sure. And I agree with I think your sentiment. I agree.
Okay,
with
you choose. You get Houston Millett or you get Trace Eaglestaff.
I'll take Houston Millett. I mean, I've seen the intent. I've seen the defensive effort from him.
Yeah, but you've only seen it for like not the intensity, but you've only seen him for like 5 minutes.
That's fair. But he had heart in those 5 minutes.
You're right.
Now, if I had to pick between those two, I'd probably take Eaglestaff, if I'm just being honest.
But then you got to tell Houston Millett he wasted a year here, and he's got to go transfer out.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to him. I just don't,
Who were you looking at when I walked in? This Tennessee Tech fella?
What was his name? Craig
Pinker. Oh no, that's the SEC media guy. Craig Davidson. Tennessee Tech was the school you were talking about. Yes. 7'2" monster. That's what we need. When Cliff goes,
David Craig.
Okay, perfect. David. Tennessee Tech's not that far away. It's like 5 hours, right? Just hop on down the road.
7'2".
When Cliff Amore gets on, and we'll take you. We can get you playing drop coverage.
That's what we need. He only played about 5 minutes a game this year, so he's got fresh legs.
Perfect.
This is what we need. Averaged a ripe 2 points, two rebounds, 50% from the field, though.
Hey, that's great.
Dunks and layups, baby. A lot of and-ones I see in his highlights.
Oh, perfect. Mason Woods is 8:30. It's 8:30, and so we are about to be joined by Katie Windham. You follow Katie Windham at @KatieWindham_ on the Twitter machine. We appreciate Justice Wilson commenting on the YouTube machine. Justice, you want to throw out any more transfers? We'll be happy to look at them and talk about them. Look, Eaglestaff would be a lot of fun, but I just think it doesn't really work
if he turns out next few, because are they going to the tournament? Are they going to make the tournament?
No.
Did they lose in their conference tournament?
I'm pretty positive they did. I think that they are done. That's why he decided. That's why he already put the announcement out that said he was going into the portal. All right, before we turn to Katie Windham, let's tell everybody about where we are. We are live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, just off of McFarland Boulevard here in Tuscaloosa. You can call Derek today at 205-758-3391. You can call him for all your insurance needs, home, life, auto insurance. Look, we already said it's raining outside today. It looks like it's going to be kind of a nasty weather weekend. So make sure you're properly prepared with the proper insurance, proper car insurance on the roads, proper homeowners insurance for all the storms that might happen. Call Derek and his team today at 205-758-3391. Red, Reese, and Victoria are upstairs. You're not going to be talking to a robot. You're going to be talking to a real person who lives in Tuscaloosa, who knows the area. Oh, that's so invaluable. That you cannot put a price on that. Call Derek and his team, 205-758-3391. Mason Woods, nothing drives me crazier than when I call any automated service and I can tell
hate it.
This person, with respect to them as a person, it just doesn't quite understand the lingo very well.
It's just
you're
tough.
not going to get that with Derek Daniel. Yeah. Three folks upstairs that know Alabama.
Know your problems.
Right. Know Alabama's lingo, know know what's going on in the area. Gives you that extra little bit of comfort. All right, we haven't predicted the second round. We'll start there with Katie. You're laughing though, so why don't you tell the people what you're smirking at?
Have you seen the manager from McNeese State that's kind of gone viral over the last 2 weeks or so? He does little entrances with the team where he carries a big speaker and they all come out together with a big boom box. He's a shorter fellow with glasses, doesn't look like he would necessarily fit in with the basketball team overly well, but they all appear to have embraced him.
No,
he signed an NIL deal this week.
Oh, good.
With Dick Pick.
Okay.
It's just the links that NIL has gone now is very funny to me.
So he's a student.
Yes, it appears he is a student.
Perfect.
Student
he's eligible.
Manager. Yeah, sure. That's just great. Good for him.
Katie Windham, what do we think about a basketball manager? Without naming names, some people behind the scenes. We got to get them some NIL love with the Alabama team. First, good morning, and how are you?
I'm good. This is an early start for me, but got a lot to do today. Gotta go hit up softball after this before we head up to Nashville. So good to get up and get going this morning.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for getting up and getting going. And you're right. We are heading up to Nashville, and it's going to be a busy morning. I told Mason that we're fortunate that Vanderbilt lost, or we'd be doing the show at about 5, 6 a.m.
We could do another mobile show. We've done that before.
Oh, yes, we did that before. I think that's an experiment I would like to not repeat. I think that's the early days of the Joe Gaither show experiment.
Yeah, I think that was probably 2023 SEC Media Days.
Yes, the last time it was in Nashville.
I think it was in Atlanta.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it was. It was you, me, and Dr. Blake Byler were driving back. I thought it was Nashville, maybe Atlanta. It all runs together. It's going to be in Atlanta this coming year, so that'll be fun. I'll get together the College Football Hall of Fame. That'll be cool. I've never been there.
Yeah, the only problem is that the MLB All-Star Weekend is going to be in Atlanta at the same time, so it might be a little hectic in that area. But
are we going to sneak you over to watch all your Braves?
We got the All-Star game stolen from us a couple years ago for no reason. Clown move by the MLB, so at least it's back. But I don't know if I'll try and go to the All-Star game this year. I would like to. I've never been to an All-Star game, so that'd be cool.
Be a lot of fun. Will Miller was with us, was with me last year in Dallas, and was looking out the hotel window as the All-Star game was just, I wish I was across town. I'm teasing, but he was definitely into the All-Star game across town.
I'd say there's a good chance he'll be there in Atlanta this year.
I would say so as well. We've got a busy weekend ahead of us, Katie, and really the first little bit of this show, we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about NFL free agency, Mac Jones. We talked about all kinds of just random ancillary topics. Let's get into the second round in Nashville. We're going up to Nashville. Mason and I have been talking about the approach. You guys were talking to Nate Oates yesterday. The guys left town. Mason, they didn't talk to Coach Sanderson. They left yesterday.
That's disappointing to hear.
Yes. Katie, Mason and I all throughout the week were suggesting that Nate Oates needs to take the Wimp Sanderson plan of holding the guys in Tuscaloosa till the last minute and then going up there and playing just to soak up all the rest and just to go in there fresh. What do you think the approach should be for Alabama in the SEC tournament?
I mean, I just saw this morning on Twitter, Joe Corona talking about how you have to go up the day before. If you're not there the day before, you might miss it because of the weather. There's always crazy weather this time of year in the South. So, and we're experiencing it today. I mean, I doubt that, like Nate said yesterday, they just did a walkthrough, I think, and then headed up there. So they weren't doing anything super strenuous. So I think it's good to go ahead and get up to the city. They were busing up there, it looked like, compared to, which obviously it is a super reasonable distance to drive from Tuscaloosa to Nashville. Not that football would know that, but they were busing up there yesterday. So I'm sure they've had plenty of rest. I think it was huge for them to get the double bye with how banged up this team has been. That if they want to have any chance of winning, they only have to play 3 games. But I'm fine with them going up yesterday.
What do you think is the Nate Oates Buc-ee's stop? Nate Oates and Mark Sears. Let's pair each of them with a Buc-ee's item. They've been daydreaming about it the entire 2.5-hour drive up there. What is the first thing? Obviously, you go in and enjoy the clean restrooms, wash your hands, and you come out and they're grabbing what?
Well, Nate Oates was on the field of 68 after beating Auburn, and they asked him, how he celebrates because he apparently doesn't drink alcohol. And he said something about something that I hadn't heard of, but based on what he described, I'm assuming. And then Tony looked it up. It was called Lemon Perfect or something. It was some sort of basically lemon water. That's some expensive lemon water. So I'm guessing he'd probably get that at Buc-ee's too, even though I don't know if they sell that at Buc-ee's, honestly. They don't have the biggest non-Buc-ee's beverage selection in the world. Really anything non-Buc-ee's, as big as Buc-ee's is, if you want like a very specific name brand thing, it might not actually be there. So So, yeah, I'm thinking he's going to be on the healthy vibe. Mark Sears, I don't know. I can see him being a Beaver Nuggets guy.
That was exactly what was in my head. That was the one in my head as well. You are you looking at
Lemon Perfect sounds awful.
Oh, what'd you find?
Just a refreshing flavored lemon water with 0 sugar and no artificial flavors or sweeteners. Give me a Mountain Dew. Like, get out of here, Nate. We're celebrating. Cut loose a little bit.
Yeah, that seems like a daily drink, not a celebration drink.
Yeah, and the first thing that popped into my head for Nate Oates was he's coming out of Buc-ee's with like a bottle of water and a stick of gum. But Lemon Perfect sounds awful.
Can we not just give him one of those, like, they've got those chocolate, like, the pucks that was just chocolate and carrot. There we go. Yes, the overbites. Thank you very much. Just give him an overbite.
Can we get the man a nice glass of lemonade, not a
Probably
lemon.
like the little fruit cups.
It's
My man Justice Wilson chimes in on the YouTube machine, asking Katie Windham. We'll throw this right at you since he did address this yesterday. What is the word on Darian Reed? Mr. McDonald's All-American has been in and out lately with hamstring issues. What did Coach Oates tell us yesterday?
Nate said that he'd been practicing, but not like full speed 5-on-5 practicing, but they were hopeful he'd be able to practice, I guess, today and then be cleared to play on Friday for the SEC tournament. So he sounded hopeful. I won't, at this point, really be surprised either way if he never plays for Alabama again, or if, he gets to come back this weekend, because we've seen at times since injuries happened, he'll come back for a little bit and then re-aggravate it. So I think that's really going to be the key. Is just because he's cleared to come back and play, does that mean he's actually going to really be able to play and contribute? But obviously that would be big for Alabama to have, more depth, especially, in March when anything can happen. It's nice to have the depth and the people that can step up at any moment and make big plays. Mo D last year was probably the 9th, 10th, 11th guy on the bench, and then kind of won Alabama the game, the round of 32. So you never know who's going to step up in March. So it would be nice for Alabama to have another person.
Huge for Alabama to have the defensive presence, his athleticism. Oh my goodness. Do you think there is a chance, you mentioned Katie before, I'll let Mason take us further. You mentioned may not play for Alabama again. How realistic do you think that line of, how realistic do you think that that thought is?
I mean, this isn't like on any like firsthand knowledge like people have told me.
No. This is total speculation.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'd say it's probably like 50-50. Like, it would be my like. I don't know, because Nate said he's hopeful to play this weekend. Are you asking more for the sense, will he play again this season or will he transfer? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Play again this season, because I think that
I'd say there's like a 70-80% chance he plays again this season.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's about right. Okay, I'm with you there. I think he is going to play. Maybe that's just my own crimson-colored glasses. I think he will play again before this season is over.
Yeah.
Tony Segala.
He will at least play. Will he be able to contribute significantly? Who knows?
Tony Segala comments on the Facebook. Come for Katie. Stay for the discussion on Buc-ee's. Katie Windham makes the show 10,000 times smarter. So, Mason, why don't you start spinning us forward and see how smart she can make us today with the second round?
Yeah, moving to the second round, the ACC tournament today. We'll just start with game one right here, Arkansas and Ole Miss. I am somewhat excited to watch this game, but why should I actually really care at all about this game?
I don't know if there is a ton of reason to care. I think both these teams are locked into the NCAA tournament. I think really yesterday worked in the favor of the SEC, and every bubble team that needed to get like the one more win got it. And then the teams that already had no shot at making the NCAA tournament, i.e. LSU, South Carolina, went ahead and lost. Feel bad for Nick Pringle. I'm sure that wasn't his ideal way. Is this his final season, or does he have one more? I would imagine this is
it. Yeah, I think this was it.
And South Carolina got down big and then came all the way back in, and Arkansas almost lost. So I don't think there's any, but I guess the interest for Alabama fans or just in general would be probably Arkansas is definitely the team that gave Auburn a better fight in the regular season. And I believe that's who they'd play next. Auburn smoked Ole Miss both times, I believe, and Arkansas almost won in Neville. So I think that will make a better next round matchup, but I'm not really sure. Really, the rest of the way, how much any of these games truly matter, because we've seen in the past that the conference tournaments, besides teams on the bubble, it really doesn't tend to do that much for seeding. Like when Auburn won last year, when they won in 2019, or even when Alabama won in 2021, they were still, a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. So I think maybe, there's a lot of talk about if Alabama and Florida play Saturday, will that get the last number 1 seed? Maybe, but it could also be that the committee, there's so many things in basketball going. In college football, at the end of the year, committee only has a couple key games they're watching.
Sure.
Basketball, they got to seed, 1 through 68 and figure out all these bubble teams. So, yeah, I don't know how closely which with the SEC being the premier conference in basketball this year, you would hope they're watching closely, but who knows?
All right, so I'm with you there. I'm not as intrigued by really any of these early games. You got Arkansas, Ole Miss today at noon. You're going into Texas A&M. That'll probably be 2:30 or
Texas,
so.
Are they gonna secure a tournament spot?
No,
if they win.
No, A&M's going to beat them today.
Well, what if they win? They won't. I don't believe they will.
They have to
I said
win.
that about Vanderbilt. I thought Vandy was going to beat them.
They have to win and beat Tennessee, I think.
You're probably right.
And Vanderbilt, oh my gosh. Okay, Texas jumped all over them. I don't know if you watched it. Texas jumped all over them.
Saw the highlights, and yeah, they almost did it.
And then Vandy dug back in, then try to foul their way back into it, but ended up losing by 7 or so. Just never really got off the bus. It was disappointing being a mile away from your home, never getting off the and Byington after the game talking about injuries and this, that, and the other. Oh, well,
Sure.
we'll be healthy next week. Make sure you remember that. We'll be healthy next week. So I'm not okay. Texas A&M 2:30. We'll be almost there by then. Katie, you interested in that rivalry game at all?
I mean, I think there will be some intrigue just it being the Texas first year in the SEC, and obviously those two fan bases don't like each other. Texas A&M can potentially end Texas this season, but I don't think it'll necessarily be a good game. A&M's not the most exciting brand of basketball to watch anyway. Buzz Williams has traditionally done well in the SEC tournament. I saw somebody saying, apologies to who, I'm not trying to steal your thunder. I think he's made the semifinals the last 4 years or something in the SEC tournament, which is pretty impressive. So, I don't think it's going to necessarily be a great game. But you never know what happens in March. You can eat your words real easily.
A game I don't want to see on Friday, Texas A&M and Tennessee.
Yeah.
Two cavemen teams just
like watching paint dry.
God, terrible. So you got we will be in the building by the time Mississippi State and Missouri takes off. Are we going? You giving Christians any shot, Mason Woods, or it's all going to be Dennis Gates and the Tigers?
No, I think it's going to be Missouri in this one. I think they probably win it relatively handily.
Relatively handily, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an absolute beatdown, but that's an 8 to 10 point win.
Okay, we like that. Then we will see Oklahoma and Kentucky in the nightcap. Big Blue Nation. Oh, Katie, how excited! We'll be in the building, and Big Blue Nation will pour in. We'll get to experience that for the first time SEC tournament in 2025. There's nothing like Big Blue Nation in Nashville.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that I've been talking with people this week that really pre-Nate Oates, it seemed like Kentucky was always the team to knock Alabama out of the SEC tournament. And then this year, but they haven't played at all under Nate Oates in the SEC tournament, which has kind of been what are the odds that that's happened, that they've just never matched up. And so obviously that's potentially happening this year. So it'll be interesting to see if it does happen, if Alabama has to take on Big Blue Nation, or if they have another early exit from the SEC tournament.
Katie,
the team is fighting for their, postseason spot as well.
Doesn't matter. Do either of these teams really threaten Alabama on Friday, Oklahoma or Kentucky? Do either of these teams put the Crimson Tide to the test?
I mean, I think they can, especially we've seen last year and 2 years ago in Tampa where Alabama did not play well at all in their first game of the SEC tournament. Last year, I think they were up like 12-3 or something like that the first media timeout, and then just like basically didn't score again in the first half. I mean, not really, but similar to that.
I sat there with you. Florida beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah, it was just not, ideal for Alabama. And then in Tampa against Vanderbilt that year, I want to say maybe Alabama was actually up at halftime and then like just basically didn't show up in the second half. So, I guess anything can happen in March. It's been a minute since Alabama and Oklahoma played, right? That was towards the beginning of SEC play.
Yes, that was the second game, first or second game of SEC play.
SEC play.
Right.
And then I was trying to remember if they played again, but then I think I was getting confused. The women's team played there at the end of the year.
Alabama beat 107-79. This is that's Oklahoma's first game in the SEC.
Yeah, so obviously Alabama killed them then, and then Kentucky. Alabama really didn't have a ton of trouble with them either time, but I think it is different in March in Nashville with all Big Blue Nation there if they do match up, and it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So I think that would kind of be the biggest concern with Kentucky. I think though Kentucky, just because of their injuries, maybe doesn't have the depth to beat Alabama, but I think they would give Alabama probably a tougher matchup.
We're hanging out with Katie Windham on the Joe Gaither Show. Follow her at Katie Windham _ lead writer for BamaCentral, hip deep in all kinds of Alabama's coverage. Mason, you want to spin us forward?
Let's move to softball a little bit, Katie. I do want to ask you. I mean, this team, I have not been watching them, following them as closely as you have, obviously, but I see the scores, I see the things come across my timeline. They are hitting the cover off of the ball. So much more impressive than they were last year from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, they are still holding teams to, not many runs. The defense is playing well as well. But just tell me about how much this offensive kind of resurgence has, rejuvenated this team seemingly in the first part of the season. Yeah,
it's definitely been refreshing to cover a game where the team is actually scoring runs. I cannot tell you how many, which really, I have not covered just because of everything else going on. I really haven't covered that many games in person because, the first couple weeks of the season, they weren't even at home. And then I've just been covering other sports too. But I can't even tell you how many games I've been to the last 3 years. The Alabama would only score 1, 2, 3, 0 runs. And that's just not an exciting brand of softball to watch. That doesn't get the fans up and cheering. They would get up and cheer every half inning for Montana Fouts to strike somebody out, but then even that gets a little bit old when there's no runs to back her up. And so the offense is definitely a lot better this year. The home run numbers are up. The steals are up. Everything is up. Now, this weekend's going to really start being the test with SEC play. But the offense is better. There's a lot of questions about the pitching, and then the defense has been not great. Had a lot of errors, and that's something that Murph has continually talked about wanting to clean up. And so once SEC play starts, there's little margin for error, like the phrase, but also literal errors, because you cannot give teams free base runners, free runs. And that's what Alabama's been doing a lot of, and it's cost them in some games, I believe. I watched the game because I guess it was during the Auburn game last Saturday when I was in Auburn. When they lost Louisiana on Saturday at home. And that's really a team they shouldn't have lost to. They love Allison Habits, obviously, but it's her first year there. They lost basically their whole team to the transfer portal. That's not a game Alabama should have lost at home. And I think they had multiple errors in that game that cost them. And so that's something they're going to have to clean up. But the offense is a lot better, starting with Audrey Vandegrift, the freshman who leads it all off. Alexis Papillo, the transfer, has been great. Callie Heavlin has, to me, really been the surprise. A senior that she's been she's been consistently in the lineup almost her whole career, but consistently about a 250 or below hitter. And I don't know her exact average right now, but it's a lot better. She has 10 home runs. And so it's been impressive kind of the changes she's been able to make.
Katie Windham, our friend Hunter DeCiver, put out a poll on his Twitter that I want to kind of piggyback off. This was 3, 4, 5 days ago. Hunter DeCiver asked his people, who is the best athlete on campus right now? And put out Justin LeBron, I don't think you had Ryan Williams on there, but for our sake of discussion, Ryan Williams, Doris Lemon-Goal, Audrey Vandegrift. I don't remember who put her on there, but goodness gracious, where does this freshman stack up? And just what has she done for the program as far as offensive infusion and maybe just confidence and attitude?
Yeah, it's really impressive. start she's gotten off to. And the last couple weeks, Alabama has not played the toughest competition, but like the first couple weeks, they were playing some of the best teams in the country in some of the best tournaments, and that's where she was doing like a lot of her damage. And so you can't just, a lot of people like to be critical of Alabama softball online and say, oh, it's all been against cupcakes, but really she's done this against good teams. She started out her career, her first couple games against top 25 teams. So it's been impressive what she's done. I don't know why it's not letting me switch the tab now. Okay, there we go. She's hitting 438 now with a home run, 15 RBIs. Let's see. She has 34 stolen bases, which honestly, like, is teetering on close to more than the entire team had last year. Because I'm pretty sure they had like 40 something as a team. Let me see.
Beat Flash.
Yeah. Let's see. Last year as a team, they had 41, and what did I say? She's up to 34. So yeah, she individually is going to surpass the team last year, which is kind of like what I tweeted with Callie Heavlin, though they're not hitting 10 home runs. It would have led the team last year or in 2022. It's kind of a dual commentary about, wow, this is a good start for her, and also how bad the offense was. But I mean, in the last year, it's hard to steal bases when you're not on base. You have to get on base in order to steal a base, and also you're less likely to risk getting caught stealing when it's so hard for you to get on base and score runs. You can't really afford to get caught stealing, and so there was less room to kind of do things like that. Even though that's always been kind of a big part of Murph's game is having the speed component and putting pressure on the defense and the opposing pitcher. And so she's brought that back to the offense. She's brought back a consistent leadoff hitter that kind of sets the table for the offense and gives the people behind her someone to drive in. That's been the biggest problem the last couple of years, is not having a consistent leadoffer. Like in 2023, they had to move Ashley Prangy to the leadoff, even though she was more of a 3-4 hitter, because nobody else could get, like, she was the only one that could hit. And they're like, you want to give her as many at-bats as possible. So now you have somebody that can get on base at the top. Any hit she gets is basically instantly a double because she'll steal second. And then there's plenty of people behind her, Abby Dukeshire, Alexis Papillo, Brooke Elistad, that can drive her in.
Is it all Adam Arbor's credit? I mean, or what would you attribute the growth at the plate to?
I don't know enough, mechanics of softball to really, I mean, I got to give him some credit because I probably gave him a lot of discredit last year. But then also there's some of the returners that have kind of their same swing as last year that has not like necessarily changed or improved. I mean, a lot of the people that are doing the best are newcomers, so I don't know how much they've really been, like, Audrey Vandergriff is a freshman, Brooke Elistad's a transfer, Alexis Papillo is a transfer. I think some of the returners that have taken the biggest jump offensively are Callie Heavlin, Abby Dukeshire, Larissa Pruitt. So, there are people that have changed. I think it's just I think it's getting some good pieces in there. I think some people, when I asked Callie Heavlin and when I asked Murph, I think we talked to her last week it was last week. It was before the Louisiana series. Kind of what's different with her. She said, and Murph said, it's a lot of her change has been mental. Her approach to the plate. The coach just talked about she used to swing at stuff 3 feet off the plate, and now she has a very small strike zone and is not chasing balls anymore. She has very few swings and misses. Yeah, that's very true, Justice. There has not been a lot of offensive production since Bailey Hemphill, really, at all.
2021, right, was her last year. So 22, 3, and 4. Not
last
good.
time they made the semifinals, the World Series, I believe, was 2021. Really, that team should have won it. But that was the year of Montana's perfect game, the World Series. So, yeah, I mean, there's got to be some credit given to Adam Arbor for sure for helping some people fix some things. I think they've got a better mental approach, and then a lot of these newcomers have just come in and been able to help them right away.
All right, before we get out of here, we're almost done on a Thursday. Katie Windham's getting over to talk to the softball program before we get on to Nashville. Before we get started with Mason, I made the statement. I just want to get your perspective. And I said, Mason, I think that the Alabama fan base, no matter what happens with the softball program, whether they win it all at the College World Series or don't even make it, I think the Alabama fan base is much happier with whatever letting the results fall where they may, as long as the offense is doing this.
No, I disagree. The softball fan base is very wins and losses driven. So they've been pissed every time they lose, and it doesn't matter the level of competition, which it has been more losses than they would have liked. Obviously, you never like to lose. Murph is super competitive. If you've been spending time around him, he hates losing. He hates losing at home. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, yes, people are in general it's a more enjoyable team to watch. I do actually think this team is better than last year's team that made the run to the World Series. The pitching is going to be the biggest question because Jocelyn Brisky was your ace coming into this year. She struggled a little bit at times. She's done a lot better the last couple of weeks, which I think is a encouraging sign for Alabama. Ole Miss transfer Caitlin Riley at first was kind of looking like she was going to be the number 2 pitcher, was doing good at the beginning of the year. And then now she's struggled a little bit. So Emily Winstead the transfer has done well at times. So I think the biggest question is who's going to be the number 2. And we'll see that this weekend with SEC play starting against Mississippi State, who was kind of picked toward the bottom of the SEC, swept Auburn to start SEC play last weekend, but lost to midweek this week, I believe, to Middle Tennessee or someone like that. So this is a very winnable series for Alabama at home, and they need to win this series at home because of the losses they've already had, because of kind of where their RPI is. And because you cannot afford to start SEC play with a losing series, especially at home. I think last year they only won one SEC series the whole season. And when they swept Ole Miss at home, they never got swept, but that was the only one they won. Finished with a losing record in SEC play for the first time, and so I think they cannot do that again. People it's more enjoyable to watch, but if they finish with another losing record in SEC play, people are not going to be happy.
I like that. I'm going to reframe my perspective a little bit.
It's not the most reasonable fan. Go listen to no free ads, but Tom and Gray, the Alabama softball radio guys, their podcast Out of the Box, they have a segment at the end called Off the Wall where they read social media comments that from people that are off the wall that have said crazy things about the team, especially after wins. So if you want to see the reasonableness level of the Alabama softball fan base, you can go check that out.
My man Justice Wilson proving he's a real one. The Kelsey Dunn and the J Train days were great. Power up and down the lineup and great pitching and defense to back them up. Oh, Jackie Trainer. Dancing in the rain. That is you think about that and just sends my emotions into happy times. Katie, we got to get out of here because we got a huge day. You're going to talk to Patrick Murphy and the softball team over at the Rhodes Stadium before that big SEC series. We're then going to Nashville. Let's just wrap it up right here. What's a successful tournament for Alabama? Or does it even matter? We're just getting to Sunday. I just want to get kind of your final thoughts on Alabama in the SEC tournament. We'll kind of end it right there.
This is the weirdest vibe I've had going into an SEC tournament since I've covered this team. Because it's last year I really thought the team needed to win a game to get some momentum back.
Yes.
And then they didn't. They got killed. In 2021 and 2023, they were kind of the favorites, and it would have been disappointing if they didn't, win. And this year's team, I think just because we're coming off the year where they lost their first game, then made it to the Final Four, I think people are kind of now in the mindset of, that's not a bad thing. And it won't be a horrible thing if they lose tomorrow. It won't be ideal for us logistically if that happens. But so I just can't get a read on really where, I think that Auburn win really did fire this team up. I think maybe something lit a fire in them before that game. Because you could just tell from the tip of that game that something was different. They were going all out on the effort, the rebounding, the diving for balls, keep shooting if they're missing shots. And so it's hard. I can't get a read on really what this tournament, I know they said yesterday they want to win, but what it really means for Alabama. And it's kind of a double-edged sword that if they win the whole thing and become a 1 seed, then do they get sent out west for regionals? Because they're kind of in a good spot now where they'd probably be in Lexington the first weekend and then Indianapolis in the second. So it's kind of, which would be definitely more ideal for us once again. And most fans, if they want to go see them in person, because obviously that was tough to do last year, every single round being out west. I think no matter what, I think pretty much Alabama will be in Lexington first weekend, but we'll see kind of about that. And so, but I think this team is ready to play well. I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think we'll see in the first game kind of what we saw last year in the first game.
That's Katie Windham joining us on the Joe Gaither Show. You follow her at Katie Windham _. She's going to go talk to Patrick Murphy. You can see that on the Bama Central YouTube channel, but keep up with Bama Central for all of her coverage. She's covering Alabama softball, Alabama gymnastics, men's basketball, spring football. I mean, we didn't even touch spring football, Katie. We'll do that next Thursday when you join us. You're covering literally, if there is a sport, a bat, a ball, something happening at the University of Alabama, Katie Windham is all over it.
Thank huge for gymnastics too. With they got to clinch their spot in the SEC championships with a good performance at Michigan. So, yeah, there's a lot of important stuff going on right now.
Busy time. Thank you so much for your time today, Katie.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. That's Katie Windham joining us. And Mason, unless you got anything else, we need to probably put a pin in this bad boy.
No, I don't think that's all. I don't think I have anything today.
Okay. What are they
excited to see where the day takes us?
Where do they follow you on the social media machines? I always tell them that. Why don't you give us a little plug for yourself?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter or the app formerly known as Twitter at MA_Woods.
It's always Twitter.
It will always be Twitter. It will. I'll never call it that letter. Follow me on Twitter, MA_Woods _. Mostly tweeting about the Titans. Honestly, sometimes you'll see some recruiting things. For the most part, though, it's just going to be me venting about how sad the Tennessee Titans make me. We're gonna have a lot of fun getting to Nashville. Mason will be in my seat, and we'll swap roles. I'll be remote. I'll remote in tomorrow. We'll figure out doing another a Friday edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central from Nashville and the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. We want to thank Derek for sponsoring the program. We want to especially thank Warren Tire and Auto Center for sponsoring the program. They are a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple. They've been such since 1961. 3 generations of family ownership. We love family-owned businesses. This is a family-owned business, Warren Tire and Auto Center. You can find them in 2 great locations. If you need tires, brakes, and alignment, go check them out at 15th Street. You can call them to set up that appointment on 15th Street at 205-759-5505. Or if you need any other automotive repair needs, engine needs, electrical needs, you need oil change, something simple, you can do that right there at University Boulevard. Call them to set that appointment up at 205-758-2739. That's Warren Tire and Auto Center, a Tuscaloosa and University of Alabama staple, and a proud sponsor of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We'll get out of here for the day. I want to thank Justice Wilson for commenting on the YouTube machine. Thank you so much for doing that. And stuff.
Yeah, Tony Sakalis as well to commenting, checking out. I think he was here for the guest, and that is A-OK. We had a great guest. We want to thank Katie for her time, and we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.